Okay, every 4 years around election time, during the presidential election, we get some really good candidates, we get some bad candidates, we get some okay candidates, we get some horrible candidates, and we get some really disastrous candidates. And this year, 2024, we got the most far left liberal senator candidate ever. Her name is Kamala Harris. Now, for everyone out there that don't know her name, she was the vice president for 4 years with President Joe Biden. She is basically stapled to his pants leg over the disastrous border uh, policies, over the Afghan debacle, where 13 service members died in a suicide bombing, the horrendous foreign policies where China flew a spy balloon completely over the United States and it didn't get shot down till it was on the other side of the country. And let's not forget Vladimir Putin invading Ukraine on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's watch. And she was very complicit with everything going wrong with Joe Biden cognitively. And now all of a sudden she has emerged as this bright, shining star of the Democratic Party. As this reporter right here is going to lay out, she's become a Democrat media darling. When she ran for president in 2020, she was the worst polling presidential candidate ever. She dropped out of the race before they even got to Iowa because she had no votes. She was running about a 1 to 2% throughout the entire 2020 election. Then she drops out. Joe Biden gets the nomination, and who is his vice presidential running mate? Kamala Harris, the most do nothing vice president I've ever seen in my entire life. She was labeled the border czar. She was supposed to go to the Triangle countries and discover the root causes of migration. And what happened, ladies and gentlemen, 3.5 years later, we have over 10 million illegal immigrants coming into our country from a wide open southern border. You have the drug cartels who are emboldened by this wide open southern border. You have coyotes basically stopping and posing for a picture in front of a camera. Now, see, personally, I don't have anything wrong against Kamala Harris. But see, here's the thing. She's going to come into the White House if she makes it into the White House. If. Because she's still trailing Trump in a lot of states. And his popularity is growing. she's still going to have all these disastrous, horrendous policies of the Democratic Party. She is for open borders. She is for defunding the police. She is for abolishing ICE. She is for getting rid of all fossil fuel production here in the United States. And she is for those anti-Israel protesters who burned the American flag there at the historic Union Station there in Washington, D.C. And Israel is one of our longest allies. She skipped the Benjamin Netanyahu speech, as well as a few of the other Democrats, because she didn't want to hear him speak. So what did she do? She flies to Indiana to some lame sorority sister convention instead of being the vice president, sitting behind Netanyahu during that speech, where it was a Churchillian speech. And for all the anti-Israel protesters out there, he laid it out in his speech. Israel was given to them by God 4,000 years ago. They are not colonizers. They have every right to that land. Abraham, Jacob, Isaac, David, Solomon. Israel is their land. And the Palestinians have no stake in Israel. It's not their land. It's the Jews' land, the Israelites' land, that was ordained by God 4,000 years ago.
The presidency of the United States. Martha Teichner takes a closer look at just where Harris has been and where she hopes to be going.
We are going to win this election.
Call it the big reveal. Vice President Kamala Harris in the last 7 days emerging.
Are you ready to get to work?
Blasting out from behind the curtain of the Biden presidency onto a stage of her own.
Are you ready to make your voices heard?
There's been kind of a joyous explosion. Certainly you've seen that in the reaction in the country.
Stuart Stevens is a longtime Republican political strategist and author.
There is something about being vice president that diminishes you, and there's something about being the nominee of a party that enhances you. So I think what we've seen since the president withdrew from the nomination, this process of Vice President Harris becoming something larger than being a vice president.
Someone large enough in the eyes of voters to be president. Traditionally, candidates have months, the entire primary season to do that. Harris has exactly 100 days between now and November 5th. She's in a big hurry.
She's in a big hurry. And just like a few of the Democratic pundits that I have listened to, they don't believe in her. They think that she's inept and incompetent. They are urging for an open convention where a more stronger candidate for president can be picked. Even though Barack and Michelle Obama have endorsed her, some of the sources inside Obama world, Barack is pissed off that Joe Biden chose her because Barack doesn't think she can beat Trump. And I don't think she can beat Trump either. Mind you, no one has ever voted for her. She was handed this in nomination after Joe dropped out because Joe Biden endorsed her. And now all of a sudden it's Kamala. This is a honey, just like James Carville stated from the Clintons that endorsed her. Everyone needs to get over the giddiness and start focusing on the realism. The sugar high will wear off. Because right now she's just in her honeymoon phase. Like they said, she only has 100 days. The honeymoon will eventually be over after her radical record comes to light. And I know there's some Gen Zers on TikTok that's redoing some of the bashing of her into hip clips. She is a horrible candidate. She's going to lose in November. And I think Joe Biden did this threw her to the wolves because even he knows she's an unwinning candidate. No one has ever voted for her. No one will ever vote for her. Whoever does vote for her is stupid. Just like she made the comment about 18 to 24-year-old adults. They're stupid. She is the most horriblest candidate, and I'm going to sit back and laugh when on election day and everyone's going, oh, yeah, we can't wait. The first black female president. Yeah, the first female president. When that gets shot down and Trump is declared the winner.
In a week, she's locked the nomination, hauled in a mountain of cash, and racked up an impressive list of endorsements. Young people, volunteers, constituencies who had tuned out of the presidential race are tuning back in by the thousands to support Harris, nudging her to a statistical tie with former President Donald Trump in a new poll.
We choose freedom.
Harris has moved fast to define the narrative of her own.
Okay, if you guys look at that poll, it's not a tie. Trump is beating her by 2 points. So Harris 46, Trump 48. It's not a tie. He is beating her.
Former President Donald Trump in a new poll.
We choose freedom.
Harris has moved fast to define the narrative of her own campaign before Trump does it for her.
If you don't mind, I'm not going to be nice. Is that okay?
The fact she's a Black, South Asian woman is the ever-present undercurrent in the turbulence of the now redefined election cycle.
Do you think that the fact that Kamala Harris is a woman will be a big factor in this election?
I think when it's said and done, we're going to look back and say it was a determinative factor.
Harris will be bumping up against that expectation that strong leaders, that presidents look like men. And so she's going to have to look strong, look like a compelling leader while acknowledging that she is different. And so trying to find that fine line between being assertive and being a strong leader while not being unlikable is going to be a challenge.
Lindsay Chervinsky is the executive director of the George Washington Presidential Library and a presidential historian.
Anytime there has been a female candidate, whether it's all the way back to the early 1900s up through Hillary Clinton, many of the attacks can be gender-based.
Kamala Harris.
As Trump has already proven.
Did you see her last night on television with the laugh?
We have double standards for women in public life, and the same for non-white candidates. Look, I think that they're going to use every kind of racial, gender, dog whistle that they can come up with.
How will she have to respond to that?
The easy answer to that is I've never been in a courtroom with someone I was prosecuting who had a lot of nice things to say about me.
Hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Prosecutor versus felon has become a meme. Haven't we heard that line from Donald Trump?
Incidentally,
Looking back from the vantage point of history, sometimes a catchphrase or a moment can alter the perception of a candidate or a race.
I, of course, disagree with Senator Kennedy.
Example, a sweaty, scowling Richard Nixon.
Only you can decide.
Versus a telegenic JFK in the 1960 debate.
Another one that I would maybe point to is Bill Clinton's Arsenio Hall saxophone playing, because it spoke to the moment and it confirmed what people liked about him.
yes, we can.
I don't think that there was a lot of polls out there in 2007 and early 2008 saying the American people, their number one issue was hope and change. But Barack Obama was able to make that the number one issue. And that's how you win campaigns.
Stuart Stevens is an anti-Trumper, but he's been a top advisor to Republican presidential candidates since the mid-1990s. Listen to his prediction.
You think Harris will win?
I think she'll win comfortably.
The odds are not necessarily in Harris's favor, though.
Typically, vice presidents have abysmal success running for presidents on their own. We've seen very few that are successful, and typically they only serve one additional term.
Of the 24 former VPs who have run before Harris, only 10 won, most recently Joe Biden. Now, Donald Trump is the old guy running for the Oval Office. So will this be Kamala Harris's moment to make history?
I'm ready.
Her honeymoon period won't last forever, but she's out of the gate, swinging.
That's right. Bring it on.
Her honeymoon period won't last forever. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Here's that little video where she is bashing Gen Zers.
This is your life. You want to get it right. Let me give you a piece of advice.
When a post about a politician goes viral, it's hard to know what's real and what's just spin. That's why the Verify team is here, to get the facts and, more importantly, show you how we did it. Take this video of now Democrat VP candidate Kamala Harris, which started circulating in the hours after the announcement.
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories. And they have a resident assistant. They make really bad decisions.
So let's verify. Did Kamala Harris really say this? Our researchers started by authenticating the video, tracing it back to a speech that Harris gave in 2014 at a symposium about criminal justice policy, so we could verify that this clip is real. Let's give you some context. The clip comes from a 32-minute speech where Harris focused on her ideas for criminal justice reform. Right before that comment, Harris is talking about her Back on Track program, which she set up during her time as the district attorney in San Francisco. She says the program is designed to lower recidivism rates for 18 to 30-year-old first-time low-level drug sale offenders. She then makes this comparison.
Well, when I was at Howard University and we were in college, we were 18 through 24, and you know what we were called? College kids. But when you turn 18 and you're in the system, you are considered an adult, period.
So yes, Senator Harris did say that 18 to 24-year-olds are stupid. But she said this during a larger conversation focused on criminal justice reform in California. The way the video is being shared right now doesn't offer that context. With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
I'm going to be digging more into Miss Kamala Harris here on the Patriot Podcast channel. And I thoroughly believe I'm not going to vote for her. And I know there's people out there that will want to vote for her, yes. And there's people out there that will want to vote for Trump. But what I'm asking is before you vote, do your research on the candidate first. Like, dig into what they're about, what they want to do. Because if you think about it, she knew Joe Biden's infirmities, and she didn't say nothing. She helped hide it from the world. So if she helped hide Joe Biden's mental decline, what will she hide for herself if she's in that Oval Office? Please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment. Hit that bell notification for any new uploads. This is the Patriot Podcast signing out.